Hi, how to study when you're unfocused. Here's how you today went. You woke up today and you told yourself you would study, but here you are now watching this video. Don't worry, I got you. At the beginning of high school, I struggled to get work done, but then I realized something. I don't need to do everything to get good grades. I used AI in a non cheating way, emphasis on the non cheating, how to concentrate for long hours, and disclaimer I have ADHD, so I know how to study, force myself to study. Here's what you're going to do to figure out what is needed and what is not. Most of the time, it's not the entire material that is important to score well. So, here's what to do everyday homework. Yes, do them. Don't want a bad reputation in front of teachers, but if it doesn't add credit to your grades, do them. But if it does not, don't make them a priority. I suggest doing things which have more percentage in grades, prioritizing them. Like if I have less time and I have two assignments, one is for 20% of my grade and the other is 10, so I'll just focus doing the 20% one first and then the 10% one. And then I suggest doing worksheets which is exam oriented and a few past year papers if you want to do well, because the past year papers gives you a sort of uh, experience and you may notice trends and you could follow those trends and then I don't know, maybe predict the sections from where the questions are gonna come for your next exam. And instead of doing random papers, do papers from the hardest year. So sometimes what happens is like 5 years ago the material paper was very hard. So you try that paper and then two or three papers like that you try and then make a notebook which has all your corrections from your mistake and then learn from them. Better to make mistakes then and not learn from it and then not make it in the exam, of course. So here's what you so now like this. 2 seconds. Where I got it wrong, the correct method and the answers. So in your notebook or wherever you study, make two columns, right? Where I got it wrong. Was it miscalculation, misunderstanding, like that, and then the correct method to the answer. If you want to find the most important section of the chapter because you're cramming, don't have less time, or just plan to skip it and you're not sure if you want to skip it or not, what you could do is go back to the chapter, read the summary, and then the summary points from which sections are highlight those, and then highlight the question answers from the back question answers. Usually in textbooks or past year papers, when you look at them, just highlight the answers in your question in your textbook or wherever all your study material. So those are the key points because generally the back question answers focuses on the key points. And then do that. Now go talk to your teacher. Usually, if you talk to the teacher, you get to know what kind of things that you may expect for the exam and learn how to write the answers and maybe show a few answers to them and they might tell you where it lacks. Because I remember from my English exam, I was writing all the words, but then I kept writing them in a way which was reducing my marks. But then when I wrote it in a way where it was not reducing my marks, I think I did a good job. Now, you could also ask the seniors to prepare. Who better to ask the seniors who actually did well on the exam? No, I'm so sorry to say this. Your seniors, like if you're in the 11th grade, you could ask the person in your 12th standard, hey, do you know how you studied for this particular exam and like how did you score well? So that will just really help. Trust me, it really helps. Now, how to beat procrastination? Now, if you want to beat procrastination, then you might want to give your brain clarity. Here's how. So, to give your brain clarity, here's how. Stay tuned because I'm going to share a free template with you guys to stay organized. Here's how to give clarity to your brain. Clean your room. If your space isn't organized, you are not going to get much work done because if you're like me, your brain is already much cluttered with assignments. Remind your brain, like reminding you of some assignments, something happened in school, or the conversation you had with someone, or something like that. So clean your room. Yeah. Second is now think of the task you need to do. Like if you're procrastinating one task for so long, like for me it might be starting with chemistry lesson or a physics lesson. So what I think was the first task I would do is open the book and start reading it for the first page. Now the first read the first page or just do one question. Now just think about how much now that I talked about, think about how much time would it take to do the entire task. Now, what could be the reward after you finish the task? If you finish the task, what would your brain look? Music, or like I made a playlist of my favorite music, and then maybe it's reading a book, enjoying cookie, going for a walk, talking to a friend, maybe petting your pet. And if you have designed a free template which looks kind of like this. Task on homework, read the first line, 1 hour, 5 to 6 p.m., 10% of my grade, music. So, this is how I did it. Just organize yourself with this link, and you can make a copy. Like this link, if you paste it, you get a copy in Google Docs. It will ask you make a copy, and then you make a copy, you'll get it. Now, another way to beat procrastination is to get an accountability buddy. This will help you to stay accountable together. Another way to do it is go into a library a few hours before it closes, and then if you don't work and if you waste time, people you might feel that people are looking at you, and then you're gonna feel awkward. So you're gonna start anyway. So I hope you help, and then I'm going to my coding journey. Come along. Thank you.